Joining us now is Mr. Kane from Citizen Free Press. Mr. Kane, don't ask me for tickets to the inauguration.
I can't believe that. I don't know if you heard it. I screamed out, "What?" when I heard you say that. I can't believe that anyone is that confident. I'll start off right at the top. And good to see you, Blake, by the way. Look, we can win Georgia. We can win North Carolina. We can win Nevada, and we can win Arizona, and we're going to lose 270 to 268.
We know.
Right? And
we're well aware.
Yeah, I'm sure you are, brother. And those 4 states are not givens, right? People need to understand. We're reading tea leaves here. We're looking at ballots. In some states, we're looking at registration. We're examining bucket 1, bucket 2, bucket 3. In other states, we're looking purely at demographics, ethnicity as well as gender. So, this is just maximum tea reading. People shouldn't, it's nice that, for example, in Arizona, we got a 7-point lead. But you know what? Arizona is full of McCain Republicans and has the most independents of any state in the country, I think. So people can't even be overconfident on these 4 states. So I was stunned. I'll slow down and take a breath for a minute. But I was honestly stunned when you said that people asked for tickets to the inauguration.
No, and so Kane, let's just kind of take a step back here. Cockiness is a cancer, and cockiness will hand the White House to Kamala Harris. Yes, I want to be, of course, we're going to be fair, guys. Early voting numbers are good. We have good energy on the ground. Great, terrific. But you know what we don't have, guys, is we're not done. We are not done. So, Kane, kind of take us around the horn here and tell us what's going on.
All right, well, I've got a few things written down. One thing that I found interesting in reading the Nevada, right? So the Nevada numbers, if people want to follow them, there's a guy on Twitter, Michael Prusser, as well as John Ralston. Yeah, Ralston's a lefty. He runs the Nevada Independent, but he's honest in his in his portrayal. So one of the things I thought was interesting in Nevada is Republicans are benefiting from the same-day registration. I've seen it every day in Ralston's numbers. He's made a point of saying Republicans picked up a 700 net gain over Democrats in same-day registration. So I thought that was a small little caveat. So let's go through the states. People know, you've been talking about, people know what's going on in Nevada and Arizona. The numbers are nice. In Georgia, we think the numbers are nice. We're able to look at counties and sort of look at where these rural counties were before in 2020 as well as 2016, and turnout numbers look good. As I said, I was on War Room yesterday on Natalie's last show, and I talked to her about this idea of boosting the rurals, right? You look at a state in the past that we've lost, like Virginia, and it's 75 of the 80 counties are red, right? We only lose Richmond and Newport News and Virginia Beach, as well as Northern Virginia. And then you look at the results from those counties, and it's 70-30, 75-25 maybe, when in reality, these are 90-10 counties in rural Virginia and 90-10 counties in rural Georgia. And so I think one of the things we're seeing is the rurals are helping us out in Georgia and definitely in Nevada. You would be able to tell us on Arizona. And by the way, you can interrupt me at any point if you want to add anything. So North Carolina looks good. North Carolina is tight, though. Of those first 3 I've talked about, North Carolina is tight. We'll go to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania does not really have early voting. Let's be honest. They have something called...
No, that's right. They have a very goofy... No, that's exactly right. They do not have early voting culture either. Everyone's just like, it's election day. It's how it is.
Yeah, very much so. And so you can go in and request an absentee ballot, fill it out on the spot, and turn it in. So that's their version of early day voting. And that's why there have been these problems in Pennsylvania in the last 24 hours, which I'm sure you've talked about and are in the stack, where their lines are building up at these county offices because they're not prepared. They're expecting people to show up and ask for ballots and leave. They're not expecting them to fill them out there. And so that's sort of been an issue. So today is the last day to do that in Pennsylvania. So if you're in line in any county in Pennsylvania today and they tell you to leave and take your ballot with you, you have a right to stay. So if you want to fill that out while you're there, hang tough. So
is that the case now? Because it wasn't the case a couple days ago. Is that now that changes? Help me understand, Kane.
Well, I'm not sure of your question. Are you saying that I'm saying that yesterday
they were turning voters away for days, just so we're clear. They have been turning voters away that have been waiting hours in line.
Okay, I wasn't. There you go. I wasn't aware that had been happening until yesterday.
No, Jack is or Cliff knows the Pennsylvania stuff, but all I know is that Trump voters have been waiting in line for quite some time and have been turned away. And guys, this is one of the reasons why you have to vote early and try to vote early. And so Kane, help me understand though. We need to win at one of the blue wall states. Let's go one by one. Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. And by the way, just let me take a pause. Blake here knows we put it all on the line to not make this the case. This is like a Shakespearean tragedy. It's tragically, guys, going right where we feared, where we're doing well in early voting in Nevada. We're doing well in early voting in Arizona. We're doing well in early voting in Georgia. And we're doing well in early voting in North Carolina. Well, what is the Charlie Kirk and Blake and kind of the whole thing? Well, if we could have went Nebraska to go winner take all, we would have won the White House. But Nebraska, their leaders
had their own priorities.
Their leaders don't love America. Yeah. I'm sorry. I talked to one of them right at the football game, and you just
not my problem.
He literally said, "Well, Kamala becoming president is not my problem," and so therefore we need a blue wall state because Nebraska just doesn't. The people in Nebraska love America, but the Nebraska leaders they're so narcissistic, self-righteous. So we need a blue wall state. Kane, which of the three? Let's go one by one.
Well. Okay, if we're going to just look at those three, I like Michigan, right? I like Michigan. I feel that Jill Stein, that Cornel West, that the surging Muslim/Arab vote for Trump in Michigan, and by the way, that's not just Michigan, that's Minnesota as well and Pennsylvania. But I'm going to be honest, Charlie. I'm not super confident about all these three states. I'm a warrior by nature when it comes to this. I'm never gonna relax. So it is those three states, but it's also about five others where Trump is sort of creeping closely, right? We've got New Mexico within 3 points, a poll in the last week. We've got Minnesota within 2 points, a poll within the last week. We have New Hampshire. A couple of polls in the last week, one within 2 points, and yesterday with Trump leading. We have Virginia with, I believe, the sneaky rural vote. Although I'm a little bit worried about excessive turnout in the super blue Northern Virginia Democrat areas where all these people know that their jobs are on the line, with Elon Musk ready to take the axe, in the government efficiency committee. All those bureaucrats in Northern Virginia, like they're gonna turn out like they've never turned out before. But the point is, Virginia is something that's in play. Even New Jersey, I put it in the stack last night. People forget Phil Murphy won by 3 points against some unknown Republican, and the turnout. I saw the numbers briefly. The turnout, early voting numbers in New Jersey, and Republicans were even with Democrats. It was 43-43, and I guess 14% independent. So it's the three string states, and I'd like to hear what you guys say about Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. But I'm letting people know in these other 6 states, get your butts out. Like, these are winnable states. And so, and I forgot to mention Maine. So Trump, if we win Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, and Nevada, he's got to pick up one of those
win Maine
other
too.
9 or 10 states.
He will. That Northern District of Maine loves him. It's working class lobstermen from Bangor. I'm not worried about that. That one's fine. So, but let's
I was talking about the whole state.
No, I don't think he'll win the whole state. I don't think he'll win the whole state. That's just I don't think he'll win Portland. Southern Maine is basically Massachusetts.
It was close in 2016, but you'd need...
Portland is a bunch of crazy people, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Portland, Maine is...
we would win New Hampshire before we'd win full Maine.
Portland, Maine is Boston. It's like a small Boston.
Blake, what do you think about New Hampshire, Blake?
New Hampshire.
I'm not on. I'll tell you why I don't believe it, but Blake, you go. It's
what
too many college-educated people.
What I will say about New Hampshire is it is a very swingy state, so it will overswing compared to what the overall country does. So Trump very nearly won it in 2016. I think it was about 3,000 votes difference. If Dartmouth was on the other side of the river in Vermont, he'd have won.
Is that right?
I did. I literally ran the numbers.
So you went to school in New Hampshire, right?
Yes.
Yeah, at Dartmouth.
Yep. And so if Hanover, super duper blue, if you just took the precincts in Hanover and they were in Vermont instead, that would have been enough. But anyway, if you, so it overswings. So it swung really hard. The overall popular vote maybe moved 2 points in favor of Joe Biden. But New Hampshire went from lose it by 0.5% or so to losing it by, I think, like 10. And so you can swing back the other way. But as you say, it's very college educated. The polls say
It's
Trump
a
has
suburb
gotten,
of Massachusetts now.
well, those parts are the more Republican parts. It's the northern part. It's like the Grafton County area is not a suburb. That's where you get the blue mountain granola types, Vermont types, basically.
Really?
Yeah.
I would think Trump would do well in that part.
No, Grafton County is very blue, which a lot of it is because Dartmouth College is a big part of it. But
Interesting.
So it's possible. I don't think it's likely. We've gotten better with Hispanics and blacks. There's not a lot of those in New Hampshire.
Yep.
I think there's probably a lot of people who are offended by January 6th, things like that.
Okay, Kane, 20 seconds, final thoughts here on the attitude we must need to win.
There's only 6 days. We've been working for 6 months. Some of us have been working
More
for
than that.
6 years. Yeah, so 6 days is nothing. Don't back off. Let
I can say here,
everyone you
Kane,
know.
I am going to be in a place where I'll sit in this chair and officiate the results and I'll have no regrets because I worked the hardest I've ever worked towards anything. And I hope you guys feel the same. I hope you guys work so hard that you literally brought your entire life to a stall and collapsed. Kane, thanks so much.